Hi! So these are my notes on the Black Death. Okay, so I'll just read them. So people thought it was the end of the world, and Europe entered a little optimum, which was like global warming, and it was, oh yeah, it was like really good weather from like 800 to 1300, and they were growing crops in Greenland because it was warmer and there was more food and there was technological innovation, and with necessities came ideas. Invention of horse collar and horseshoes and better plow helped with farming. Water and windmills. By 1300, Euro had about 75 to 100 million people. But in 14th century, there was an economic disaster. Tree rings showed environmental decrease. Europe was weak, and then came the Black Death. Euro traded with the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. And for the trade routes, the forests were cut down and roads were made. Rats and fleas traveled these routes along with like ships from like Asia. And from 1315 to 1317 there was incredible rains almost every day. Crops drowned in water. In 1318 food went away and people starved. The Great Famine of 1315 to 1317 killed 500,000 people. And wars went on and armies traveled. Armies traveled and they weren't clean, and they spread the Black Death. And so the Black Death was from Asia to Europe, and it was the role of the Mongols. China lost 50% of their population. Mongols have conquered Asia and had big trade routes that spread the Black Death. And the Black Death is the most devastating natural disaster in European history. And Black Death is what would have happened after a nuclear war. So there's 3 stages of the Black Death. The first stage is the bubonic plague, which was where 60% died. And that was skin infections and stuff, and you're sick, and there's bleeding under your skin. I don't know, it's gross. The second stage was the pneumonic, which spread by being socially close, and about 90% died. The third stage took 15 hours to kill you, and 100% died, and all organs turned to water. But I think filled with water, not turned to water. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, filled with water. And the Black Death got everywhere. And poor people slept in animal farms, and so they got sick. And the middle class had bad houses, and rats came into their house. And the upper class shared beds. And the Black Death was caused by rats and fleas. Originated in Asia and arrived in Europe in 1347. People lost their minds and some left towns and didn't know where it was coming from. Kings and queens left towns and went to isolated other palaces. Mortality was 50 to 60% in some areas. Wiped out between 25 to 50% of European population. 9 to 38 million died in 4 years. Plague returned in 1361 to 1362 and 1369. That's the Black Death.